I believe this will be the most impactful video that you watch today if you'll just lock in for a few minutes, because this right here changed my life. At some point in my walk with Jesus, I kept finding myself going back to specific sins. I wanted deliverance from God. I wanted deliverance going back to that porn addiction, going back to gossip, even going back to cycles of anxiety and depression and all these things. And I'm like, okay, God, if I can just quit sinning, I'd quit sinning for a little bit. And then after, a few months hit or whatever that looked like, when calamity hit, when hard times hit, I kept going back to it. And what I had to realize in order to gain freedom, it wasn't necessarily that I needed to quit sinning, but I needed to get to the root of why I was sinning, the desire to sin. You see, I want you to think of like an apple tree. So that as you grow an apple tree, think of the fruit, the sin. So think of, the apple tree grows, and when you see an apple, okay, that's that porn addiction right now. Okay, God, I gotta get rid of it. You pull that apple off, you throw it away. That apple might not be visible, and there might not be an apple there for a while, but because that plant is still rooted in the ground, the apple is always going to grow back. And that's exactly how sin is with our lives. A lot of times we try to get the fruit when we need to get to the root. And what I've realized is, in my walk, the reason I had things rooted in my heart of sin, part of it, trauma, growing up, believing lies and everything, but what it was lacking fear of the Lord. I didn't see God truly rightly for who he was. So therefore, I engaged in sin. So therefore, I walked in other ways, not abiding in him. And you say, we go to church, oh God, you are the Prince of Peace. You are the only thing that I need. God, you are my one thing. But I want you to realize that your actions are the fruit of what you really believe. You say, we can confess these things with our mouth, but if we are not walking it out, you don't actually believe it. Because what I had to come to terms with was the reason I was, engaging in specific sin is because I believed that sin would give me more comfort than God. So what God had to do was renew my mind in the patterns, that I've grown up thinking, okay, if I'm feeling stress, anxiety, let me go to this sin. Let me go to porn, or let me go to whatever this is, and I'll feel better. But he had to renew my mind and say, Carew, see me rightly for who I am. I am the Prince of Peace. If you think that, sexual sin or talking about whoever gave you peace, how much more will the Prince of Peace give you? And I say, okay, Lord. And as my mind started to shift on believing who God was, my actions started to change. My desires started to change, because I no longer went to those specific sins for the comfort, for the love, for the validation, because I believed the word of God. So this is the thing. We cannot have fear of the Lord if we do not see God rightly for who he is.
For more content like this, make sure that you follow and subscribe.